Kim Currier, Head of Partnerships and Marketing at Decentraland Foundation. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Um, so on the show, we talk to all the Web3 crypto projects, and I'm excited to be talking to you today and get really into Decentraland, what it's about, and also the category of the Metaverse category. Before we get into that, like how'd you get into the crypto space? Like what's your prior background and how'd you get into it?
Yeah, so I spent about 12 years at traditional Web 2 big agencies, so representing Fortune 500 brands, working on the client side, so really client service, brand strategy, and holistic, account creation and servicing. So did that from college for 12 years, like I said, and then 2021, COVID time, all of that, got really into NFTs while I was honestly a little bit bored while I was doing stay-at-home mom life for a little bit when daycares closed down, and had a lot of fun just diving in to learn about like what could be next for brands and marketing and loyalty and opportunities, which is how I stumbled into the NFT space. Just as a like curious person, not here to like make money, figure it out, did not intend to work in this space by any means. But as we all know, you end up going down a rabbit hole and you're deep in it really quick. And so that's kind of how I ended up here, just as a curious consumer. Really loved the potential to have deeper meaning on chain interactions and build brand experiences that were really around true engagement versus just, see an ad, like once, never find out what they do long term, and have a experience that everyone could enjoy together.
Was there a specific NFT or metaverse community you first got involved with prior to joining Decentraland full time?
Yeah, I was running a project called Eyes of Fashion, which was a
Mm.
generative PFP project from an art illustrator named Talia Zoraf. She was doing really, really beautiful fashion illustration art and took a new spin on the PFP collections, really focused on the articles of clothing that was being shown versus like a lot of them were like, what is the character head? And she focused more on the fashion element. And I thought it was just a really cool way for an individual independent artist to connect with their community. And so I came in through that lens. And the way I found her was I was just in a Women in Web3 Discord, which at the time was very small. And I had just mentioned I worked in marketing, and a lot of people were like, oh, there's artists in this space, there's coders in this space, but not a lot of traditional marketers that were offering to help new artists at that time.
That's really cool. What I love about NFTs is like its ability to uh, kind of really create culture and community.
Hmm.
And I've always thought that, NFTs are, even though like, crypto is very cyclical. And at one point, metaverse and NFTs were super hot and then not so much. But, um, but I've always thought about the promise of NFTs in the metaverse and how in its role in crypto in general is so promising. And I'm looking forward to hearing, your thoughts around, Decentraland is one of the OGs in the space. It's been
Hmm.
around for a
Definitely, yeah.
while, um, and would love to hear kind of your learnings and around culture and all of that. But maybe you could share with us first a little bit about Decentraland. Maybe educate the audience on like what is Decentraland, um, and it's like in its place in the metaverse category.
Yeah, absolutely. So I joined Decentraland September 2022. So I've been here for a few years now. And since then, we've gone through a lot of changes. But Decentraland, for anyone that is not familiar, we are a social virtual world. And I like to say that we are a part of the metaverse, but we are not the metaverse. Just like many brands are not the internet. I think
Mhm.
there are going to be a lot of different games, virtual worlds, experiences, AR, VR, that'll all exist within the metaverse as we call it today. But we really are working really carefully to ensure that people understand that we're a virtual world. You can experience it on your desktop. And it's really for UGC building. So people can come in, build a 3D scene. It is a completely traversable world. So that means people are building side by side, just like, New York City, San Francisco, London. You buy a piece of real estate, you don't know who your neighbor may be, or you do, you build together side by side, you walk across the street to someone else's build and get to experience that like community feel of what it's like to build a neighborhood or a district and build that world together for what we hope people want to see in the future, or a world that is full of creativity, ownership. It is built on the blockchain, and land, wearables, and emotes, which are your actions in world, are all NFT based on Polygon. And so it's just really a special place for people that are looking for a more engaging virtual experience. I think social media is how a lot of people connect today, but it's very two-dimensional. It's you send me a message, then when I'm back online, I send you a message, and it just feels fleeting in a way. And so we were realizing there's so many people that have these global friendships across the world. And more so now as people are going more remote and traveling is easier than ever. How do we stay connected to one another? Like if my best friend lives in Barcelona, how do we have experiences together? And that is something that happens in Decentraland kind of all the time. We see, Friday night DJ parties. We see people going to art galleries together. We see people checking out a new build, like, hey, did you see what so and so built? Let's all go together for an opening. And that's what we are trying to create, is like, where can people come together, have a friendship with someone on similar interests, or even someone that's super different from them and you never would have been able to meet them in your physical experience, and really build the world you want to see.
I think the metaverse, and I'm grateful that you clarified kind of that, that it's part of the metaverse,
Hmm.
versus like the language I was using, which was incorrect. Um, I've uh, I've met with folks at the Sandbox and other
Yeah.
metaverses, in the NFT and metaverse category. And what I've always found really fascinating is it's like a universe where you can kind of escape reality and then enter into like a universe that you create, meet new people. But there's like there's also commerce. There's like experiences. Like you
Mhm.
can create like uh, uh, the types of experiences that you could have is like really interesting. And I'm wondering about like the I guess inside of Decentraland, what are some kinds of experiences that you've found like your users becoming very like interested in? You mentioned like going to a museum. Like, tell
Mhm.
us more about those. Like, kind of help describe so that people can like envision like what it might be like if they have an experience, Decentraland.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing and the most popular use case is friendship gathering moments. So that could be a party. We have weekly parties that are in Decentraland. Like Friday night, there's the Meta Beast party where everyone from like a kid called Beast community comes into Decentraland. They hire a DJ and they just like have a great time and catch up. So that's a pretty common occurrence in Decentraland. I would say there are multiple of those a week where you jump in and there's a party. I went to one yesterday, which was a birthday party for a community member who just has friends across the globe and wanted to celebrate their birthday. So that's the most common use case I will see. But there are others, like you had said. We've had partnerships with like the Finnish National Gallery,
Mm.
where or different we had a UNESCO site that was built. So there are like historical or cultural opportunities where you can only visit that if you live in that geography, or you're financially able to travel to that geography. And that's super limiting on who gets to experience that amazing cultural moment or opportunity. So we've had partnerships where we say, like, let's make a replica or an experience that showcases what your country, your art gallery, your tourism board wants to show. And so those are different moments we have. We have a lot of art. I think 3D sculptures are really cool, 3D experiences, art galleries in the sense where you walk around and you can see, on a wall, different art like you would in the physical world. Those are very possible. And then, of course, brand experiences. A good example, I can think of a few, but one would be, so if you're a marketer, which I know there are marketers that listen to your podcast, um, you can think about how do you reach your audiences in meaningful ways. And Doritos, for example, they do a big campaign every year for their Super Bowl. So they had their TV spot, they had their Instagram ad, and they had their Decentraland build for this
Mm.
concept. And so the Decentraland build was really, really cool. I wish I had visuals to pull up right here, but it was a triangle like a Dorito, and it was called Triangle Studios. And you walked in and you could claim wearables. One was this really amazing, like orange glow, which is just so funny because when you think Doritos, you think like the orange on your fingers and that very specific visual. And so it was this really cool orange sparkly jumpsuit that you can come in and get. So like immediately as a consumer and a fan, I'm like, I got something of value. I got this really unique wearable that the only way to get it was to go to their scene during their Super Bowl promo. They had a really fun experience, and like engagement experiences I think are key, not just slap an ad on. That doesn't work in Decentraland. You really have to do something that your audience is interested in. And so they made a game out of sounds you would think of with Doritos. So the crunch, the bag open, all of that. And you turned it into a soundtrack and shared it on social for a really fun, like music acoustic experience. They had also created a chip parkour. So your avatar jumped in and you had to like get to the top of this parkour experience for a prize. And people had a ton of fun. I mean, we had engagement times of 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And if as a marketer, you're lucky to get like 3 seconds on Instagram sometimes, or like, how do you create that thumb stop on TikTok? It's really, really hard to do. But when you're building an experience for a world people are actively engaging in, they're looking for brands that are saying, hey, we're here to give value. We're not trying to extract anything. They weren't selling anything in that experience. They were just trying to make people say, I had a really fun moment with Doritos. That was a good time. I have a good brand association with them. And I still see those wearables today in world. Mountain Dew did an amazing one. I believe it was end of 2021, 2022 with an esports team. So they did an esports team watch parties. Watch parties are also really popular in Decentraland. Film nights, watch parties, that kind of stuff does really well. So they had a esports watch party, and one of the wearables, which I thought was hilarious and so on brand, is Mountain Dew, obviously caffeinated, gives you a boost. So they did like a backpack that was rocket boosters, and it was like upside down Mountain Dew bottles as the fuel. And I
That's
was like,
awesome.
hilarious. This is so great. And such a fun experience there. And then they also had a Mountain Dew like dinosaur dragon skin that was promoting one of the products they were doing with like the Mountain Dew Red. So it was just a ton of fun. And so I think finding ways to say, how can a brand have fun here with the intention of giving value, again, not extracting value? And what can community members use the platform for to connect with one another in a way that feels a little more fun than, a Zoom call or a Google Meet, which we did so much during the pandemic. And we saw a lot of people saying, instead of doing this, can we like go have fun and play a game together, go to dance to a DJ together, go see art together, and like have a real experience?
I think the brand experience is pretty fascinating, and I want to double click into that if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Um, the I think you bring up a really good point that these brands just they want to provide and give value back to
Mhm.
their customers and engage with them. And so, whereas in crypto, there's kind of a lot of extracting of value, and I think probably an overemphasis on like ownership and NFTs and how you can make money from these NFTs.
Mhm.
But it sounds like the partnerships with these brands, it's like, let's have fun, create a good experience, make it memorable so that they become more loyal to the brand.
Mhm.
Um, what does that collaboration look like? Let's say with Mountain Dew or really anyone.
Mhm.
How do you co-create an experience together? Like, what does that look like, and how long does that take? I imagine that's probably just a ton of work on both sides.
It depends. It really does. I think The Doritos one was obviously really well done. A studio had done that build for them and they brought it to us. So they had an agency. They were looking for interactive game like experiences. They came to us and said, "Hey, we have a client that's looking to do something. What would that look like? How would we partner together on this?" Um, One thing I should note is I work for the Decentraland Foundation. So we are the nonprofit side of Decentraland, and our goal is to make sure the platform is continually running, so the fundamentals underneath on the tech side, and then we help and own the brand IP, so the social handles, the website, all of that kind of stuff too. So the partnerships do flow through us on that side, but we are not a for-profit company. So these partnerships, I'm not saying come on in, pay us a lot of money and you can have a spot. We're really saying, okay, what are you going to bring to our community? Is there value here for our community? And if so, let's co-market it together and like make something really cool. So when they come to us with an idea, they either have a studio and a team in-house that can build to Decentraland specs, or we connect them with a official Decentraland studio. So these are community builders that know how to build in Decentraland. They're really, really talented. Honestly, a lot of them are self-taught, which kudos to them is so impressive to be able to build in that capacity. And we partner them up, bring the vision to life and say, okay, what is the brief? What are we hoping to achieve here? What value is it giving to the community? And they collaborate and build depending on how complicated the build is. We do have no code solutions. So there's some templates, there's some easy things. If you're an individual builder or a small company that wants to do it in a low lift way, that's totally possible. But if you're talking about like, Doritos custom parkour, that's a lot of like custom code that's being done and a lot of creativity on the content side. So they just kind of work together, creative minds, devs, and build something really cool. Those take a few months, but definitely not as much time compared to like in real world activations. So I tell a lot of brands, they think of them sometimes as like their pop-up store. So it could be around a campaign that does like a pop-up store in New York. Like, could you replicate that and get it to a wider geography? Could you think about that experience that maybe stays beyond a day because you're not worrying about like the land lease or the permits that you need in the physical world? That's a lot easier to do in a digital space.
That's so cool. In a brand partnership, who typically comes up with like the storyboard? Would that be the brand? And then you guys would collaborate on that?
It totally depends. Some brands know what they want and they come in and they're like, this is our vision. And then other brands come to us and they say, we know we want something in a virtual world. Here's our audience. Here are the types of things we're interested in. And like, what could happen? Because, a lot of things, some brands come and they think very web two. Like, can I just replicate XYZ in a virtual world? Can I replicate my storefront in a virtual world? Is a question we get a lot. And it's like, you can, but why would you when you could do something so much cooler? Like a virtual world allows for creativity in a way that is very different from physical creativity. We're not talking about the same types of architectural constraints. We're talking about floating. We're talking about fire, glitter, like really cool stuff that can be built in. We're talking about gaming mechanics, animations. Like there are things you can do that aren't possible in the physical world that can be built here. So a lot of times we will bring in like our content team, and for us content is in world content, not like social media content. So our content team can say like, okay, what are you trying to do? We have a brief and we can bring ideas to them, like, have you thought about this, or what if we brought this element from your brand in a totally different way here? That kind of experience we can do.
Um, the possibilities are so much because you're not tied to physics, right?
Right,
It's like
exactly.
it's there's so much creativity that can happen with,
Mhm,
brands, I imagine commerce.
mhm,
How do you prioritize kind of all of the growth drivers for Decentraland with, partnership with these brands, um, possibly with sports leagues,
mhm,
possibly with commerce? How do you prioritize kind of like where should I be spending my time right now from a
mhm.
partnerships perspective and a growth perspective? Because it sounds like there's so many opportunities.
Yeah, it's honestly my biggest challenge because I oversee both the marketing and the partnership side, and within that is also our in-world events. So we have these like 10 pull events every year. that we talk about. The next one coming up is a Pride film night. Then we have a prom, we have art week, we have music festivals. So we have all of these different events. What we find is that a lot of people's first experience in Decentraland was a big event. So there was an event that happened, someone told them about it, and they come in. So we do prioritize a lot of time and resources around these big events because they're really cool, unique experiences in Decentraland. And it's a really, it's an easy way for someone to come in. We say, hey, there's going to be a 4-day EDM festival. Like, jump in and come watch a concert with me. And they're like, okay, I can conceptually understand what's going to happen when I get there. I'm going to watch a screen. There's a DJ. I'm going to dance. Cool. So we do a lot around those events. And we bring in partnerships for these events as they come up. So we do Music Fest every November, for example. So this year we tested a concept where all around the stage outside was a huge like showroom type of environment where we had all music related brands could have a booth and talk about what they were doing in this space. And that was a lot of fun. We're testing a lot of different concepts. We've also have brands do like a full build nearby an event or related to an event for additional visibility. And then we are doing partnerships like I just announced this week. We're doing a partnership with SheFi. So from a growth perspective, we are first a social platform. And I think that is what sets us apart is while we have brands coming, that's really exciting. What's the biggest growth driver in my mind is just individuals looking to connect. And so I do prioritize that over kind of everything at the store at the beginning. So how do we get more people that are looking to connect across the globe? Where are those people spending their time trying to make new friends, to connect with others? Where are they learning about Web3, crypto, Metaverse? And so an example of SheFi, where, are you familiar with SheFi? But in case your audience isn't, it's an educational cohort-based learning about Web3, crypto, and all of the ecosystems within it. And so we're working with them to create some course content, to do some workshops on how you build in virtual worlds. We will host mini events for them. They're invited to all of our hosts. And so I'm trying to think about partnerships that are, it makes my job harder, but they're not always repeatable. It's really unique to that community or that brand that is trying to have an in-world experience.
I'm reminded of I took my kids to this trampoline park, and
They're popular here. I spend a lot of time in trampoline parks.
I do like literally every Saturday I'm there. I was talking to the owner and I was just asking him about how business is going, and then I asked him like what tell me about like they have this subscription or membership thing, and I asked like what's the biggest driver, like what's helping to grow memberships. He said that the number one thing that has helped them to grow are parties. He says that
we're there every
parties.
weekend, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So birthday parties usually is like really low cost for them. But it's like from a user acquisition perspective, it's great because these are people that have not gone or experienced this specific trampoline park. And then usually after the party, they talk to the manager and said, hey, we'd like to join. And so like their user acquisition cost is like zero because it's like they came from a party. And the way you're talking, it sounds kind of like that. Like these events become like a funnel for retention, and which is pretty fascinating, which brings up another question. If I, as you grow through these events and parties, what are some like non kind of calendar events that are kind of like, but always consistent? Like if there isn't an event going on, what would incentivize me who might be interested in like, entering Decentraland? Like what are some things to do that are not event specific?
Yeah, absolutely. And funny enough, birthday parties are so big in Decentraland and are a reason a lot of people come in is like, oh, my friend has a birthday party. I don't live in the same country as them, but I would love to celebrate them. I'm going to go to their virtual birthday party.
It like mimics the real world. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's really funny that you say that for trampoline parks because it's very, very true for us as well. So non-event stuff, I mean, we have actually on Monday coming up, so May 19th, which will be after this is live, but we are launching marketplace credits. So just a way to reward people that are in world. So for anyone that is not familiar, in Decentraland, you create your own avatar to really own your digital identity. All of your clothes, which are known as wearables, are created by community members. They fully own them and they put them on the marketplace. You can buy those and they are NFTs. So you will own it forever, however you want to handle that. You could buy it, you could sell it, you could trade it, you could gift it, which is super popular in Decentraland. Gifting is like one of the things about Decentraland I love the most, is just like the generosity of the community. And that is a big part of it. And so when you get started, you come in with your basic avatar, but like owning your identity in Decentraland is such a key thing. And so it really says a lot about you. I, as you could tell, am like pretty toned down in my physical world appearance. But in the metaverse and in Decentraland, I have like a hot pink ponytail. I have like crazy boots that I would never wear in the real world because they're not practical. But building who you could be without constraints is a ton of fun. And so the best way to get started is to shop the marketplace. And so we are launching marketplace credits to give people a way to earn credits to use in the marketplace, just like store credit as you would in the physical world.
And that's on May 19th.
May 19th, it'll start. And it'll be a 6-week beta test. 8-week beta test. And we're just going to see like, how do people respond to it? What things do they want to earn credits for? What do they wish they could earn credits for that they couldn't today? And then we'll take a pause, do some feedback, and relaunch it again in the future. But we just agreed to a $2 million investment in marketplace credits and ensuring we're really putting money towards people being able to invest in their digital identity.
What's the mechanics there? So the pin tweet says your time equals rewards. Like, tell us about like, what does that make? What is the mechanism design to earn credits?
You'll be able to jump into Decentraland and it'll give you some tasks to do to earn credits. And so it could be explore 3 new parcels. And so you have to go and check out different spaces built by the community. It can be attend 2 events this week. And so it's like, okay, if I go to 2 events this week, I'll earn a certain number of credits. It could be, so since we're social, we want people to meet each other. So it'll be open 3 new people's profiles. And so you get to open their profile, learn about their interests, see their identity and their style, learn how long they've been in Decentraland, and really just all of them are meant to foster social interaction. So you're exploring someone's build, you're going to an event, you're exploring profiles, and just trying to get people to have reasons to meet one another again and again. And as you do more of that, you earn more and more credits. The best part about it, and I know this is common in the crypto space, is everyone's like, how do I earn money? How can I be a creator? Where do royalties fit in? The Decentraland marketplace is intentionally built with creators in mind first. So 97.5% of all sales goes directly to the creator for primary sales. And then 2.5% of secondary is built in royalties forever on that as well. So really a creator first. So on the back end, kind of the sales will make sure they all go to creator pockets. None of them are coming to the foundation at all as a nonprofit.
That's cool. So I'm thinking of 2 things. First of all, that sounds really, really cool. The way you earn these credits.
Shop a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, it incentivizes like more participation, exploration, and that's awesome. And really kind of takes advantage of the natural curiosity that we all have.
Yes.
I'm curious about like if I do some kind of event like the Doritos brand partnership, for example, and I did like some kind of parkour move with my chip, is there a way to tweet about that? Or like, so that whatever I do inside of Decentraland, I'm able to brag about it outside of Decentraland to, for some clout, or even, more brand kind of more create brand awareness outside of Decentraland.
Yeah, absolutely. I think about the brag moments all the time because our community is proud of what they're building, but they're also competitive. And I love that about them. They're super proud of their moments in there. They'll say, I've been in for this date. I've probably visited the most scenes. And we were seeing that happen a lot. And we were saying, how can we give the proof for them to brag about? And so when we launched the new desktop clients, we rebuilt Decentraland from the ground up and launched it October 22nd of last year, 2024. So everything was rebuilt with social and community first in mind. And so we launched with badges as well recently. So now you can earn all these different badges for different moments. So if it's, you know, made a certain number of new friends, if it's visited a certain number of parcels, bought your certain number of wearables, all of these have tiers and badging like they have in games. So you can level up in different ways in our badges throughout the game. And so when we say game, though, a lot of people describe us as a game. I don't necessarily, just because there's no winning and losing. There's a lot of gamification elements, and there's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of play, but you don't win or lose. It's all about like the daily experience you have all the time. However, there are people that are competitive and want to level up. And so we added those elements into the experience for them. Badges is definitely one of them.
Yeah. The other thing I'm thinking about too is, oftentimes it's, creating an experience like in a virtual world. It's like,
Mhm.
um, often the most powerful things that come from that are like stories.
Mhm.
And because stories are able to capture emotion more than really more than really anything. It's
Yeah.
pretty amazing. And so I'm curious about, what are some stories that you could share, um,
Mhm.
of people's experiences inside of Decentraland, and any kind of emotional hooks, or um, uh, you know any kind of like emotional story that maybe you could share that would give us a better sense as to like what it might be like to be, you know experience Decentraland.
Mhm. Honestly, this is my favorite part of my job, so I'm so happy you asked. There are so many touching stories that I never expected in taking this role. Um, there are people who were DJs in the physical world, and their jobs were gone in a day when COVID happened. And all the clubs were shut down, all the birthday parties were shut down, and they lost all of their opportunities to make money and do what they love to do. And so we had people that self-taught how to do virtual concerts, how to do virtual performances, how to sell themselves as a virtual DJ for these birthday parties, these music festivals, and made a full-time living being a Decentraland DJ.
Wow.
And it was so exciting and to be able to see that. We have a community member who shared with me that she, in the physical world, has autoimmune disease. And so she's not able to go to raves in the real world. Like, that's just not a safe experience for her health, but loves going to raves and EDM concerts, and really felt since she was diagnosed, she was missing that part of herself and that experience. It's such a community vibe to like go to a concert together or a festival. And so she said this year's Music Fest, she jumped in. It was a 4 day EDM event with like concerts all the time. And she was like, this is the first time I felt that part of myself that I felt was missing since getting diagnosed. And it was just so heartwarming that we were like, what other experiences are people missing because of whether it's their health, financial, geographical, whatever it may be, that they can't have in the physical world. We have a lot of parents, people like me, who, I'm a parent, I have two toddlers. Like, I am not going anywhere at night. I would love to. I grew up in New York City, right outside of New York City. I love being able to do cultural experiences, and I don't get to do that much. So there are a lot of parents like me who put their kids down and just want to like do something social, but they can't leave their house because their kids are here sleeping. And so they jump in at night and like go to a party, go play a game with a few friends, meet up, go see some new art, a new art installation that was built. And so I really love that we're giving people a way to experience something that they can't in the physical world because of a barrier that is kind of outside of their control. So we have a lot of stories like that. I think one of my most favorite opportunities was in May. We created the first ever Decentraland Community Summit in the physical world. We said, all of you have made these amazing close virtual friendships. If you're interested to bring that into the physical world, we're going to host, like on our dime, the foundation will host a summit in Argentina. Get yourselves there. We will have come learn about the product, what's coming up next. We'll give you some alpha. We'll have parties, we'll have dinners. We'll just get to know each other on the physical connection as well. And we had people come from 21 countries. We had someone come who had never left their region of their country before, get on a plane to come to Argentina with strangers that they had only met online. And that first day was just tears from community members, but also from us, seeing like, oh my gosh, what is happening here? And it's real friendships, even if they're virtual. And I think that's something a lot of people talk about, is like, is the virtual world the real world? And that's why you'll hear me say the physical world versus the virtual world, because the virtual world is real. And a lot of those relationships are real. And a lot of those experiences are real. And so being able to say we're giving people another opportunity to have real impactful experiences from a laptop
That's
is like the best part of my job. It's really the most fun.
the Argentina physical world experience sounds fascinating, and I bet you and the team were just so surprised at
Puddles. I was puddles.
That's really amazing. Um, I wonder, maybe you know, but I'm curious if there's like been relationships that have been built, like
Mhm.
romantic relationships, maybe even marriages that have happened through Decentraland. Are you aware of any?
We do have Decentraland couples. A lot
Oh,
of them have, more so it was brought their partner in, but we have seen really, really strong like best friendships definitely happen. We've talked about doing like a Decentraland speed dating or a like that type of stuff in the near future. I think it's definitely possible. But we know deep personal friendships, business relationships, like people have never met in person and have Decentraland businesses together. There are two people I know that live physically next door to each other and build an entire business in Decentraland together, which is a lot of fun as well. So the personal relationship stuff is definitely happening, and we said it is only a matter of time before we learn about a wedding that started in Decentraland. We have had a Decentraland wedding, but they had met outside of Decentraland, but had their wedding in Decentraland. And it was, I don't know if you've caught this, but it was like a Taco Bell Decentraland wedding. It was very viral for a hot minute.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Wow. I I I I wish I hadn't heard of the physical experience in Argentina. I wish that
Mhm.
were kind of like more well known, because that seems like a both surprising and like pleasantly surprising and really amazing experience, I'm sure.
We will
Um,
definitely plan to do more of them.
yeah.
To be announced soon, but we have since done. I hosted a community dinner at ETH Denver and said,
Mhm.
hey, I'm going to ETH Denver. Anyone from the community, I'm going to book off a part of a restaurant. Let me know. You're welcome to come. Dinner's on us. Let's all just hang together. We had, I think, 18 people at that one in particular. It was a little late in the game for some people to get flights, but it was a ton of fun. We had a meetup in Paris. We've had a meetup in Amsterdam. So we're starting to see them kind of popping up all over, but definitely a summit part 2 is in the near future.
The the metaverse is there's so much crossover between Web 2 and Web 3. I'm curious to know, roughly, the the audience of Decentraland's like participants and audience, like what is the rough, I don't know, percentage wise, in terms
Mhm.
of like Web 2 people versus Web 3? I imagine it's probably 50-50.
Not yet exactly, but I think that's mostly because when we launched and up until October, we very much used crypto tech language. We said,
Mm,
have a wallet, log into a decentralized virtual space where you can own your own, it was just like so much Web3 crypto jargon
yeah.
that I don't know that it was so inviting to Web2 up until this point. Since then, we have added social integration. So you don't need a crypto wallet to log in. You can log in with your X account, your Discord account, your Gmail, whatever it is you choose. Feel free to log in, and we partner with Magic to create a wallet on the back end. So if you want to jump in and claim wearables, you absolutely can do that without knowing about blockchain, about Web3. We know they'll learn over time through the experience. Recently, I will say, we've been doing growth acquisition for the first time really in Decentraland's history, and like an intention, a campaign, paid dollars type acquisition. And we're seeing a lot of growth in areas we weren't expecting. I was expecting, to see the best results on crypto websites and crypto places where people understand Web3, they get decentralization, they care a lot about privacy. But those people are also pretty skeptical of downloading new products, of trying new things, of connecting wallets, all of that, which I totally understand. I am as well. But what we're finding is there's a huge audience out there really striving for connection and social and fun digital experiences. And they may not know anything about Web3.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay, because our platform isn't DeFi. You don't have to know the intricacies of this space to enjoy the platform. And so we really have done a lot of work over the past year to ensure blockchain is there, but it's happening on the back end. And so that it's really welcoming to anyone that may come across content from us about how do I build 3D virtual worlds? I care a lot about digital fashion. I'm looking to just make some friends that like music. I'm looking to explore digital art galleries. Like, all of that shouldn't require you to know about crypto. That's just general interest. And so we've done a lot of work past year, I would say, especially in the past like 5 months on that, to ensure that we're making that people looking for those types of experiences can find Decentraland.
And I think that kind of welcoming approach where kind of blockchain-y type language takes a backseat.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a ton of sense, because most people, they want an experience and probably don't care if there's even blockchain involved or blockchain supporting it underneath. And so I imagine that kind of changing the language and then kind of making very intentional effort to make it welcoming is going to be a huge growth driver for Decentraland. And might even be one of the root causes for, why Doritos and other brands have become interested in partnering with Decentraland, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's been a ton of fun. I mean, a lot of them, I think, originally they came because they were like, oh, I have an innovation budget, or I have a Web3 budget. And we come top of mind in a lot of those places. But I think when they're in, they realize how strong the connection is, the opportunity for real long-term engagement. And that's kind of where they get the hook.
Yeah. Another area I was thinking about that's, I think, quite popular in enterprises, like B2B enterprises, is like training.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if Decentraland, if you guys have looked into creating like a universe where employees can come in and like be trained on some, I don't know, HIPAA or something like that.
We haven't had like it done at an organizational level, but we have had people come in and say, can I stream a webinar about XYZ in Decentraland for our audience? And the answer is yes, you can. We just released a new streaming feature that makes it a lot easier to do that. We have a template of an auditorium that you can like drop in and stream your whatever it is, your XYZ of the training purposes. More so what does best is like, is there a social element to it? Otherwise, why would you not do it on a stream? Like a Google Meet or something. So if you're trying to make it be something more fun, something more socially engaging, if you want to give out rewards, that's when it tends to make sense to integrate.
Yeah. That's really cool. There's so many possibilities. I'm
Makes my
thinking,
days very busy. But yes,
yeah,
the biggest challenge, I think, like you said, is like prioritization and finding out. For us right now, we're doing a lot of testing and learning. And I think that's such a big part of growth marketing, of saying, I have a hypothesis. Let's try it. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. We learned something in this process that can impact the next test, the next
yeah.
hypothesis, the next decision. And that 1% time over time compacted is going to make a big deal. So you're trying to find the little changes, and then occasionally, there's a spike that really is an aha moment.
In the let's talk about the events coming up. You mentioned a couple. Maybe you
Mhm.
could maybe run through a couple of those to give the audience kind of an idea of what they can get involved with and when.
Yeah, absolutely. The most time sensitive one we have coming up is we have a 2-day event. The first day is Decentraland Pride. We're doing a film screening and PJ night, which will be a ton of fun. It is going to be Wednesday, May 21st. All of the information is on our blog and our social media accounts for that. But basically, come on in. We're going to watch some films. Everyone's going to get some cute like onesies. It's going to be a good time. And it's so that we can all also rest up, because the next day is going to be the first ever Decentraland prom. So this is a new event we're testing. Like, we are learning more and more about our audience, the social experiences they're looking for. And we learned so many people never went to prom and didn't have a prom. And I'm based in the US. Prom is such a big part of the culture here. And we were talking with our events producer, Bay, about a bunch of different opportunities. And she brought prom to the table. And we were like, yes, prom will be so fun because everyone loves to get dressed up. So like the idea of getting your outfit together for prom, it ignites the marketplace for our creators to come up with something new. Are you doing top hats with tuxes? Are you doing suits? Are you doing dresses? Are you doing skirts, heels? Like, it brought so much fun stuff that's now on the marketplace this week. So I will be shopping after this for my prom look. And then, so prom is Thursday, May 22nd. We are starting to see promposals on social, which I think is just so fun. So
What is that?
asking a
Oh,
date to your prom. So we're seeing a lot of couples do proms. Bring a prom date. It could be romantic. It could be a friend. We've seen some group dates getting started. So we're gonna have some DJs, live DJs for the event. Jump on in. There will be free wearables as well to come and claim, and a free emote. So dance moves and just a good old fashioned, high school prom type vibe, but for adults.
that sounds fun. Is there a theme like 80s night or any theme for the prom?
It's just a virtual prom.
Just
So,
virtual
yep, show up
fun.
as your best and kind of bring a date, show off. And it's very much a love centric, but love being a very broad term about it.
That's awesome. And all the information's at decentraland.org and
Yes.
also on your socials.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that's the one coming up the next week. Really excited about that. We are also having a game night. So come on in, play a bunch of games with us in the middle of June. That'll be June 19th.
What are some of the games?
I can't share yet, but
Oh,
we're building some new game experiences in Decentraland for people to come in, multiplayer game, and then you can also be a spectator, watch what's going on.
interesting.
So it'll be a ton of fun, and then there'll be some like mini games around as well for people to come in and play. So much more of that like social game type of experience. I do game nights in the physical world, so I'm really excited about how that comes to life. It's our first time trying that experience. And then we have a career quest coming up in July. So learn more about what it's like to be a builder. How do you 3D build, coding,
Mm.
smart contracts, kind of all of that type of stuff will be on the table, recruiting in Web3, etc. Um, Art Week is in September. So rolling into our big season, we have Art Week, Music Fest, and the holidays.
Is there a calendar
There
that like a
is.
public? Okay.
That's what I'm looking at over here. If you see me
Oh,
turning, I'm like, I need to remember all of these. We have a really cool graphic that's in our
mm,
blog on our manifesto. So our
okay.
plan for the year is our manifesto, and it listed out all of the big events that are put on by the foundation, but also our community puts on amazing events every day. So you can go to decentraland.org and there's an events page, and anyone can upload an event that is happening in Decentraland. So if there's something you want to create, a friend's birthday party, whatever it is you want to do, you can go into the events page and make it public for everyone.
That is so cool. There's like an entire world that I think people just aren't aware of, and this
Mm-hmm.
calendar points to how active this community is,
Yeah,
and
there's
and
something fun all the time.
so much to do. That's really amazing. Well, Kim, thank you so much for taking the time to educate us on Decentraland and all the fun and opportunities there are there. Um, I'll make sure to put in the show notes all the URLs that are relevant, and invite the audience to check out decentraland.org and to get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This was a ton of fun, and Decentraland is open for everyone. So just go to decentraland.org, download, set up your avatar, and I'll see you inside.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.